What are you painting, Katie?
I'm painting a lovely picture of you.
Oh, it's a beautiful picture.
It was heartbreaking. It really was dreadful to see. It's the last thing you expect, to see your own parent in such a helpless state. And she was helpless, having gone from being so independent and so capable to suddenly having nothing. Your grandma was a rather special and very lovely lady. She was so full of life. She had a happy personality and a great sense of humour. She was caring, kind, and a most wonderful, loving mother. She loved all kinds of music, but especially the piano, which she learned to play from the age of 6. Before she had me, she was a nurse. She was a theatre sister at the Luton Dunstable Hospital, and she loved her time there. And then she gave up her career when she started a family, and I came along. I was always very close to my parents. I had a great childhood and have some very, very fond memories. Over the years we did obviously loads of things together, but as I got older I moved away and didn't see so much of them. But after you were born, all things changed. We spent lots of time together with your grandma and granddad, and in particular we used to go, you and I, to the caravan. We used to go on the beach, we had picnics, go for ice creams, and I think you had a pretty good childhood. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and I know she did. She absolutely adored you.
Again. You wanted a game, were you, darling?
I had a phone call one Sunday morning from Dad. It was, I remember it clearly, the 2nd of December 2007. And he said that Mum had been taken into hospital the previous night. So I thought this was a bit of a shock. I said, what on earth's happened? And apparently she'd had a blinding headache, suddenly had a great pain in her right eye, and the sight had gone, and she didn't look right at all. So he called an ambulance because it was pretty obvious that something catastrophic was going on. That morning, Sunday morning, I went straight into hospital, and I think I was in shock. She didn't look like Mum at all. She was worried, she was frightened. She'd lost her personality, as it were. Unfortunately, this happened over a weekend, so it wasn't till the following day, the Monday, that she was actually given the tests to find out exactly what had happened. Then they were able to confirm that she'd actually had a stroke. I visited every single day, and I was so worried, I was exhausted with the travelling backwards and forwards. It was a very difficult time. And at the same time, I was worried about you, because suddenly I'd virtually deserted you and was giving all my time to Mum. Mum was discharged from hospital just a few days before Christmas. The hospital wanted as many people out as possible to free up the beds, and they'd done an assessment and said that she was fine to come home as long as we were able to look after her for the next 10 days before her care package kicked in. We brought her home, but we had a lot of trouble. She was very immobile, and we hadn't realised at the time that she was also becoming incontinent. The hospital hadn't told us this, so we were totally unprepared. Another thing which we hadn't been told was that the stroke had affected her ability to swallow, so she was unable to get down crucial medication and also any food. And for the next 72 hours I spent most of the time there trying to help her to eat, or encourage her to eat, and get her hopefully to the loo and manage the incontinence, and it was impossible. I was absolutely exhausted. It was then decided that she should be put into a care facility. The home where she was placed didn't really give an awful lot of care, unfortunately. They were aware that she was unable to swallow food, but they still didn't give her the appropriate meals that she could manage. She was put in a chair in her room, and right opposite the chair was a great big mirror, So the poor lady who'd just suffered a stroke and was anxious, worried, all she could do was sit and look at her reflection in the mirror. We decided after a while that this couldn't go on much longer because she was going downhill. So we decided to find somewhere else for her. In February, we managed to find her a wonderful care home at Benjamin Court. My mum had a lovely self-contained flat. There was 24-hour support there for her. But despite all the care that they provided, I still had to give an enormous lot of input because they could only give so many hours per week. Over the years that she was there, her whole persona improved dramatically. It was fantastic to see, and we wouldn't have dreamed it possible when she'd had the stroke. We would never have dreamed that she would have improved so much. It was fantastic to see Mum improve so much over the years. So much so that do you remember last year we managed to actually have some time out together, you and I, and we went to a local zoo.
We did.
And we saw the tapirs, and they were absolutely wonderful, and we bought a fridge magnet with the very tapirs on, and we went straight from the zoo, straight to see her, show her all our photographs and give her the fridge magnet. And she was absolutely delighted that we'd been able to go out and do something together, because she was so aware that your later childhood had been completely disrupted because of her.
What's your new picture?
Oh, Gran, me.
Of you? By yourself or with somebody else?
Me.
Just you?
The events of the last 10 or 11 years since Mum had her stroke obviously had a big effect on our relationship, yours and mine. You were only 10 when she had her stroke, just coming up to going to senior school, and lots of big changes in your life where normally I would have been there 100% for you. Then I wasn't able to be. I had to sort of split myself between you and Mum, and it was very difficult for you. It was very difficult for me, knowing that I was not deserting you, but I certainly wasn't giving you the support that I'd fully intended to do. The years that I should have been spent giving you my total support, they were gone. You had to really grow up very, very quickly. But I think our great love, yours and mine, for each other is so strong that it was never diminished. But for that, I do feel guilty for that, for not being there for you as much as I would have really hoped.
Do you think that I'd be able to care for you as much as you cared for Grandma?
That's a difficult one. I don't know. I'm hoping that there would never be the need for me to have any kind of care like that. It would all depend on your circumstances. You'd have your own family, you'd have your own life to live. You may have moved away. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds? If you did help me and I needed the help, that would be wonderful. But I certainly wouldn't expect it. I wouldn't expect it because I know now from personal experience what a massive commitment it is. And it is, you do sacrifice so much of your own life. And not wishing to sound big-headed or anything, so that's not what it's meant to be. You just do what you have to do. I did what I felt I had to do, and I was fortunately in the position to be able to do that. But you may not be, and I quite understand that. I'm looking forward to the future. I'm looking forward to getting back to somewhat of a normal life, maybe starting up my old hobbies, going back to choir, getting back on my bike. But most of all, I want to have some real fun with you, do some great things that we didn't have time for before, to make up for it in some way, because I do love you.
I thought you'd like this one. No Twinkle Little Star?